All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you on behalf of ITP Media Group. My name is Vibhor Srivastava. I'm the country head of ITP Media Group in India. And this is the first maiden webinar by Hotelier India. Very consciously thought through, and I think it promises a lot for you from the audience as we have got an incredible panel today. Hoteliers have always been at the forefront of innovation when it comes to design and architecture. However, they are now facing unusual and unimaginable challenges from a structural and design standpoint as they strive to adjust to the new normal, where hygiene, safety, and superlative guest experience go hand in hand. Hotelier India is proud to present its first webinar under the Design Insight series. In this webinar, we have some highly hoteliers, acclaimed hoteliers and architects who will share their opinions about the new design world of the hospitality industry. I'm delighted to introduce them very briefly because they are very tall personalities. We have Michael Wong, Senior Continent Leader, Global Design Asia Pacific, Marriott, who has been with the company for over 23 years. He is responsible for design and project management, related activities for all Marriott portfolio of 23 brands in APAC, and for the development and execution of strategies to effectively respond to the changing development and business needs of Marriott international brands in the region. A very, very warm welcome, Michael, at our forum today. Then we have an extraordinary lady here. We have Reema Diwan, who recently joined Accor as Director Design and Technical Services, India and South Asia this March, where she will be lead the planning, design, and construction of projects under Accor, and will be responsible for designing high-impact guest experiences. In the past, Reema has been associated with Starwood Hotels and Resorts and Taj Hotels, Resorts and Palaces, where she was instrumental in crafting brand identity and conceptualizing various brands under the ICF portfolio. We also have architect Prem Nath, founder of Prem Nath and Associates, who has been practicing for over 5 decades and has given India's many firsts in the hospitality sector. This includes the country's first revolving restaurant at Hotel Ambassador in Mumbai and India's first health spa and gold resort, Golden Palms at Bengaluru. He's now working on an upcoming destination entertainment resort with an artificial beach at Delhi NCR. Of course, architect Prem Nath, it's such a warm feeling to welcome you as well here because I've been a big fan of kind of work and the energy and the stamina and the passion and the enthusiasm that you really is very, very contagious. I would like to welcome Niyati Chavan, Principal Architect and Founder, AbhiKrama Designs, a firm she set up in 2002. And a graduate in architecture, Niyati completed her formal education in project management from NICMAR and later received her IGBC Lead Professional Certification. As a strong advocate of a human-centric approach to design, she is regarded as a subject matter expert with over 2 decades of experience. Ladies and gentlemen, to do this such a wonderful discussion with such an elite panel today, we have a very, very impressive editor, a very fine journalist, a great person, great personality herself, who has steered the brand Hotelier India to its greatest heights and whatever it is today. A lady, literally buzzing with ideas, concepts, and we are truly delighted to welcome and introduce you one more time, Vinita Bhatia, editor of Hotelier India. I think आगे का सेशन वही चेयर करेंगी, so she is your anchor, she is your सूत्रधार, and people, a very warm welcome to the lovely audience. And I know you've been through to many webinars, but make sure that you do please send your questions in the Q&A. Me and my team in the behind will obviously take notes of it, and please ask questions in the between. The lovely panel has accepted our request, and they don't want you to starve with this question till the end of the session. So shoot your question to all the wonderful people, and I will now be behind. So we hope to see many questions, right? Over to you, Vinita.
Thank you so much, Vibhor, and good evening and a warm welcome to everyone. Like Vibhor said, this is the first webinar that Hotelier India is organizing under the Design Insight series. And the first question, or rather the topmost question that most people have is, how is the hospitality industry adjusting to the new normal by creating architectural designs that will ensure the safety and well-being of both their guests as well as the staff? And how are hotels, be they economy, upscale, luxury, or resorts, exploring new ways to bring wellness into the hospitality spaces using design as the linchpin? So, to begin the session, Michael, I'm going to ask you the first question. You mentioned a very beautiful term, serendipity. So, and it's perfect because right now we see that guests have been, or people have been cooped up for months, and they no longer want to be packed in a tight space. So, how are architects and hoteliers going to use serendipity when they are designing spaces? Do you expect to see a lot more open floor plans, open air spaces, high ceilings, outdoor areas, operable walls, maybe even biophilic elements throughout hospitality spaces to offer guests the feeling of being outdoors?
Yeah, I think definitely it's kind of a wake up call for us designers and architects and hotelier, where you have to examine all of the preconceived way of doing things, right? And also, to me, it's about bringing back some of the basic fundamental of design that I think not thought about anymore, especially things such as prevailing wind, right? Simple design decisions that used to be made in the old days when there's no air conditioning, right? There's a lot of verandas, there's a lot of open air, how sun angle is treated. I think a lot of us have kind of forgotten some of those important criteria in design that is now bringing back to the forefront to to help the situation with COVID. To me, it's not enough to say, especially for hotels, right? We are at the end of the day, we're not a hospital, even though it's hospitality, but it's still all about experience, about design. So to me, it's not quite form follows function for hospitality. I still believe in more of form follows fiction. Fiction meaning the story of the hotel, the experience of the guest is still critically important. We cannot allow COVID to be the forefront of hotel design. At the end of the day, that guests want that wonderful uh, service level from the hotel. They want human contact, and that's still something we cannot forget. Yes, we need to be focused on touchless. We need to focus on minimizing the hand contact, right? So we can create a lot of touchless design and incorporate it into the hotel, the public area. But we cannot forget at the end of the day, it's the guest experience that we want to focus and make sure they come back.
Thanks. In fact, you spoke about touchless, and touchless seems to have become the buzzword in the hospitality industry. In the past, while it was already prevalent and many hotels had adopted and embraced them, over the past few months, we've seen that hotels have adopted and opted for touch technology all over the place. So, Reema, my next question is to you. How can hotels ensure that they are using mobile apps and other touchless technologies in a very curated fashion to control density in public spaces without affecting the guest experience or making it look like a very sanitized experience?
Absolutely. I mean, if we just focus on cleanliness, then we're in trouble, right? Then we start to look like hospital. So how do you merge the two? How do you create this still incredible sense of arrival, but still incorporating all of the necessary hygienic uh, measure, right? And I think when we can do that and have the guests not feel it, that then is when we succeed. So, for example, uh, at entry, now we have to create what I would call a greeting area, right? So the greeting area is a transition point for the guest from outside to inside. And the greeting area have to incorporate all of your expected things, temperature, measure, cleansing fluid and all of that, but it needs to be designed and incorporated as part of the space and not just another add-on. Right now, unfortunately, for all the open hotels, that's all we can do, right? Because it's a retrofit. But going forward, we have a lot of design guideline direction on how to create that transition point for the guests from outside to inside and incorporate it in the design so that they don't feel it. That's the challenge for all of us.
Okay, thank you, Michael. So, sorry, Reema, you're saying something?
I said to add more to it, it's just like, the COVID has established almost, a different standard, and especially a practical design approach to technology, right? So technology for hospitality was always there, but it never was like so integral, as part of the design than it is now. So, I mean, of course, it is very important to have technology integrated well with the overall experience, and the overall thing should be like less complicated, because the moment you have technology, it's just the interface has to be like really, really simple and very effortless, so that the guest of all genre, like somebody like who is not very comfortable with technology, can also be able to access it very smoothly, because you don't want to hamper the guest experience with all those gadgets and all that technology interface. So technology is really important, especially in current scenario, but it has to be like well integrated. And we are in our hotels doing keyless check-in and check-out, which is like quite swift also, so that without going to the reception or the desk or having any interface, you can just do very smoothly check in and check out, even make payments, and then like even through the smart technology. One is like keyless check in and check out, and also like having smart technology interface, which is like those smart lights, especially in the public washrooms, to have less, to have touchless surfaces, and maybe those, arrival experiences where you have to really open the door and all. It can be like all integrated with automation. So, I mean, these things are like have taken right now really at a top seat than ever in hospitality design.
Taking forward from what you've just said, Reema, technology has come to the fore everywhere, whether it's in the hospitality industry or even the way we are working. Look at us, we are having a Zoom interaction today where we would have earlier had a real-time meeting. So even if you look at it, there is an expected long-term increase in the number of remote workers. And of course, a lot of them are now working out of Hotelier India as well. So what kind of design opportunities exist for hotels to provide specific or even flexible services, like maybe private offices, co-working spaces, or Zoom suites for their guests? And how can they do this with minimal adjustments to the guest room?
See, these the ancillary spaces, whatever, that has taken definitely elevated experience and importance. And not just for the guest room, even for the public spaces, like the way you design lobbies. We believe in creating a more organic design for the lobbies, in which the overall experience is more adaptable, because we feel that no matter what you do, like you really can't eliminate the social experience which you would like to offer to the guests, right? And you really can't disconnect that social interaction and interface. So we are right now, we are just trying to take design decision, focusing on how we can create a more adaptable experience to the guest, which is like very simple yet very awesome, and paying attention to the basic principle of the designs, and like having more modular form to the furniture, wherein the guest can be comfortable and adapt to any hotel space to their needs. So also we are trying to create in a day, like there are various moments, like there are work moments, there are play moments, there are moments to be with your family, and you can achieve all that being in the lobby space. So it's just like being a little more innovative than what we were before. And I believe that of course, how the situation will be post-vaccine is totally unknown, and what implication it will have on the design is totally unknown. But, out of every chaos comes innovation. And these are some innovative ways in which we can recreate the entire guest experience and dimensionalize it to cater to various guest needs, whether they want to just hold a space and walk, or they want to just play, or maybe just like, just have a small zone for the pets, or to create, sort of a social engagement, but still they want to maintain social distancing. They can do that within the lobby spaces.
Fabulous. So thank you, Reema. I'm now going to direct a question to architect Prem. So, Reema did mention that one of the functionalities that we see is in the change of behavior in restrooms. Minimal contact is expected in restrooms. Now, restrooms and washrooms are amongst the most heavily used and the most scrutinized functional components in the hospitality space. So on a micro level, restrooms can pose a major challenge for designers, given the essence of what it is. How can architects design highly utilitarian spaces and which are beautiful and offer hotels the opportunity to provide style and safety and superior function without breaking your bank?
This COVID has brought a lot of awareness to us. That becoming quite awareness of health and hygiene, which I never bothered about that. It's become like essential to survive. Health and hygiene at home and workplaces, and hotels are no less. We spend a lot of time of business activities and overnight and things like that. We see we're already designing new properties, say offices, to give example, where we don't have large offices, we have a compartmentals. We are isolating them. We are not making large ducts over there. We're making small compartments, small air units, small fan units over there, so that virus doesn't travel from one compartment to other compartment. Now, this corona is not a bacteria, it's a virus. Now, from one room to second room to third room, like what we do in hospitals, OT, operation theaters, each room is independent operation theater. No air goes from here to there. The same story will happen in our hotel rooms, guest rooms, and public areas or restaurants or even banquets or some whatever area you call that. So how to not to transmit the virus from one place to other place, which is the main cause, rather than you can avoid handshaking, avoid many things over there, but mainly the air environment around you. Now there are two ways of doing health basically. Like we do health and hygiene by virtue of natural environment, like sunlight, fresh air, cross ventilation, or you have in a hotel, you have a sky decks, you have a break area like an office over there, a break point, people can like to, instead of having lounges which are enclosed, lounges can be exposed to the air, where people can breathe fresh air, they can get some sunlight and feel a little better, and they can rejuvenate themselves over there. Now, while in confined rooms and bathrooms, now normally we have a fresh air coming into the room, like we call it treated, a common area. Another common corridor, one treated fresh air unit, we supply fresh air to all the rooms. And that's the biggest cause of contamination. So we need to have it now, already happening, that we have an independent, self-contained treated fresh air unit for each room, put it to near the window. Like mini air conditioner unit you have over here, which gives you treated fresh air, carbonized and ionized over there, and gets mixed with your fresh air, basically unit over there. So your air quality remains clean within the room itself over there, doesn't travel further on that. That is one of the way of keeping air. Second thing is now we to have our environment, people asking, maintain the room should be less contaminated and things like that over there. So that bacteria or virus gets stuck to the kind of your upholstery, your furniture, your units over there. In time to come, we'll have to have more hygienic, healthier materials, easy to clean, easy to maintain, no moldings, no kind of frills, no kind of texture, no thing over there, acrobatics on that. Clean, smooth surfaces. Designers can definitely relook over there by definitely playing colors of tone and material here and there like that. They may have, they don't use chenilles and things like that. They use possibly linen, they are more clean and easy to hygiene. So it becomes easy for the even housekeeping people to maintain their rooms and areas over there and keep the place more cleaner. These will be a few basic things which are required to be done over there. So all the new hotel will, by and large, will have a clean environment of air, ventilation was one thing, a kind of open spaces, clean environment like natural open spaces, natural kind of sunlight. Or rather, allow sunlight come into my room. Today, with the new glass coming over here, I allow the entire sunlight coming to the entire room over there. My glass get heated. I don't allow the heat to come in, but my glass produces power. I got solar glass. So my each window is producing 2 kilowatt of power per day. Allow the sunlight to come in, and my room remain healthy. That's what we do in offices, we do home. We do the same thing in the hotels also. With this solar glass happening over there, this is a blessing in disguise. This is how technology plays in that. Also, but see, we've been doing this thing in hospitals and in pharmaceutical areas over there. We use blue light. The blue light is called what you call is ultraviolet light. What you see early morning around 7:30, the sunrise time over there, the light is refracted. The refraction, the light becomes softer. Only about 20-30 minutes that time over there, light comes over there. This light level is at the speed of 250 nanometer. That is the wavelength over there. It is skin grade, doesn't harm your skin, and it cuts all kind of virus. Why only corona? All kind of virus. Now, this blue light normally used in hospitals area, hospital commercial production area. In US, they are already using this in offices and kind of in public places. You may have to have induct a blue light into your side lamp, into your room, into indirect light, into helmet, where your room that remain disinfected constantly. There no virus exist. That totally room become virus free. They want to claim my hotel is virus free. I have a lot of hygiene, health, open environment, and a clean environment, a healthy place. My hotel is healthier. Today we can say hotels are more healthier than hospitals. In fact, I'm scared to go to hospital, rather go to a hotel. I find more safer there. With new technology being done over there, can make a hotel, you can make a boast of that. My hotels are more healthier. Please come and live with us. That's the way technology is going to do it in time to come. I suppose that answers adequately.
That would be a great marketing tagline. Yes, that does. Thank you so much. So, Niyati, I'm going to pose the next question to you, which has just come from one of our participants. So, Ganesh from UK, he's from Craft Lighting. He has a question taking off from what architect Reema just said. His question is, how has COVID changed the way architects are looking at lighting in terms of in context with wellness? What is your take on that, Niyati?
Yes, so thank you for asking this question. I'm pretty passionate about lighting design, so I'm going to attempt to answer your question. So, lights in, so there are two sections of light. One is the light which is used for the exterior and the lobby in the open spaces, and another is the lighting which is used in the room, right? So, the lighting in the open spaces and the ancillary area is to give you an impact, or is to give transcend you into something experiencing something better. That is when you visit the resorts and the hotels. When you are in the room, because you are going to expect that now, even when people on vacation are going to be using the screen times. So things like what we're trying to do in our, trying to have a blue light filter on our specs, we're going to probably have to add that onto the way lights have been using it. Can light help us for that? Can we have a timed UV lights put in? So when we go out of the room on a timer, can a room be sanitized by itself, right? Once you remove the key out of it and you're out of the room, no human beings are there. Can it sanitize by itself? Secondly, can we mimic the idea through lighting of having more outdoor light? Can we keep in time that what is the outdoor lighting, what is the lux levels, what kind of temperature are you in? So we are going to be, in terms of lighting, there has to be change in mimicking the nature, having our rhythm set. So there are so many things lighting can do, while you just see the light fixtures, but the light itself kind of puts a whole different take on the environment that you design. So this is so many things that light can do, but here the manufacturers are a big support in lighting, so all the innovation kind of comes from them. So if more pioneers in the architecture industry, and the hotel owners talk to them, I'm sure they'll come up with a solution that will help us transcend the feeling in the room. And one more thing I feel is that customer is looking for much more flexibility, because now that we are saying that even when you come to holiday with your family, you are going to be doing multiple things. So the traditional way of putting the lights in a hotel room has to change. There has to be something which that untangible through lighting that person enjoys, which is not in a home like or a cozy kind of thing. The light should adapt to the customer's mindset and his need. So we need more responsive lighting. Is that what I feel?
Yeah, I hope you answered our participant. So I'm going to, Michael, I'm asking you the next question. This is from Deval Tibrewal. He is the CEO of Hotel Polo Towers. And his question is, can you give an example of Hotelier India design where the design itself was used to reduce operating costs?
Yeah, I think the operating costs actually it's much pre-COVID. It's been an initiative for Marriott to basically overall create more efficiency in the back of house. As an example, back of house area, we compressed all of the facility by easily 20%. And those are basically investigating all of the area that can be consolidated, right? For office planning area to be uh, uh, having natural light and also open planning, flexible planning. So it's critical. And then the public area as well. Fortunately for Marriott, we have 7,500 hotels worldwide, right? That's an incredible big data. It's an incredible source of information for us to tap into and to look at what are the areas that we can compress without hurting guest experience. So it is critically important for us. It is one of the key areas that we are looking at to reduce area without sacrificing guest experience and create a better investment model for our own.
Okay. And this is across all Marriott properties, I presume.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So generally, I would say we've improved uh, area reduction and compression by about 20% in recent years. I think that's pretty good, frankly.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. And Reema, Deval has another question for you. His question is that most MEP design basis reports seem to be nearly the same content which is rehashed. Why isn't there a single standard set of MEP DBRs that hotels can use? Can you answer that question?
So most of the brands actually have a set standard for MEP and the DBRs, which is like the switching logic has to be certain way. There are like the how the MEP and the engineering should flow in our hospitality space based on the segment, like premium segment or luxury or ultra luxury or lifestyle. So most of the hotels and developers, they follow the standards and the checklist which is being provided by the brand. And even for us also, we are very practical in our approach based on the guest feedback, based on what we see in our hotels and what works and what doesn't work. We keep adapting, we keep changing our standards and to be ahead of the market and competition. What are the new offerings? What are the new products which we can incorporate as part of the DBR, as part of our design review reports, as part of our guest experience? So mostly this is like very much standardized, for Accor.
Okay, thanks, Reema. So we have another participant, Architect Prem. This question is for you. Tanas Kasad from Arjun and Ebara Advisors wants to know what are the top 3 takeaways that architects have learned and are incorporating in their designs for hotels across segments post the pandemic, whether it's the rooms, the public areas, dining and wellness. You did cover it in the earlier part, but she still wants to know the top 3 takeaways.
See, in hotel, I can't say there can be some areas which is top, which is not top. Guests come there in all parts of the area. Some people come for banquets and parties and get together. Some come for the play, live in the room. They don't go to restaurants even over there. Some come for business over there. Some come for leisure, children, family, they all kind of it. So every part of the hotel has got importance. And it's required to be possibly in today's time, particularly today's time, have a healthy kind of space there. I cannot possibly say get priority to rooms and leave the kind of banquets, which can be a large gathering over there. They're more concerned on that. Or leave a restaurant. I'm saying that every part of the hotel must have a new look in terms of technology, driven like lighting and kind of bringing out the air controls, wireless controls, and also bringing more natural environment. When you plan new hotels, I make sure a lot of natural lights and break areas are there part of my hotel design. So whether it is going to break area, whether it's a park, whether I may have a cafe, outdoor cafe, I may have a rooftop cafe, I may have possibly small patios. What we have in the offices, break areas, the lifestyle will change, the habit will change. People rather prefer to rather not go sitting in the only indoor cafe over there. They rather possibly go for outdoor cafe, outdoor disco possibly. That kind of thing possibly. The whole outlook will change depending how we guide the new. Honestly, we designers and hoteliers who run the place, they're very expert how to motivate the new the way of the lifestyle to the public. Places, see, hotels are places for the public. People come and see over there. They want to be seen, to feel it there. So it is for us how to create some kind of new kind of setting environment where they feel safe and they can enjoy their life as well. So it is for me, every area is very important, including back of the house, housekeeping, engineering, including the service area for the staff, where they change their rooms and they live over there, change things over there. The other one, basically, biggest manpower, lifeline of the hotel. They pay more attention to them. So all for me, all areas become very important for us to make sure that everywhere technology is used, a new environment is brought in terms of lighting, in terms of environmental spaces. We have to rethink entire, first of all, MEP system in terms of lighting and in terms of engineering, in terms of air control, cooling, air control, fresh air, treated fresh air. That's more important. Today, you think over there, a lot of plants become part. Like hotel must have a small balcony decks over there. Maybe a small one. They don't come out, but only your plants can be kept over because these plants give you a lot of natural kind of a healthy environment for your room, which air will go to suck into the rooms over there. Entire envelope around the hotel can become medicinal you may serve treatment nature around you. You may be healthy. So we have to possibly rethink all over again. All our designers and even the hotel operators possibly themselves also there, and the public definitely going to accept it. We have to tell them why are my places looking good and better and good for you, good for us, thing like that. So I had to think as a whole thing, right from the back of the house to my front, my portico to begin with. That's where I think about that. So I'll definitely use new technologies, which are not very expensive. I'll definitely use new techniques of kind of decor, which are more simplified and cleaner and better and easy to maintain, better for the housekeeping. I definitely like to say that thing doesn't become expensive, doesn't add to the cost. Something add to the cost, something cut down the cost. I'll have to make a balance of that. I can't make place expensive and can't afford it. So I have to become an overall picture comes of your technology, design skills, and environment and cost controls. That's how you're going to possibly, anybody operator will think of that. Every hotel owner wants that. And the customer wants best out of us. That's what you're going to do that. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, that does. In fact, you raised a very interesting point about housekeeping and role of housekeepers. So the sheer scale of the hotels that you handle. So we have Arijit Aikat from Lemon Tree. He wants to know what is the role of housekeepers in the design brief or the discussions while finalizing a project. For instance, what can be their involvement in the selection of the material, which can be easy to clean or maintain, whether it's furnishing or carpets? Is their input actually taken while design decisions are made?
Actually, it's kind of for us a two-part. There's a front end, which is us as we design new hotels, right?
Mhm.
And then there's another part which is related to post design, which means all of the hotels that are already open. So from the hotels that are open, we have a lot of these initiatives focusing on cleanliness, materials that are easy to clean, that are durable, and that comes directly working closely with operations and people who are actually managing the hotel. And then that information then is circled back to us on the front end and to incorporate that as part of our operating supply and using the right material for interior design that is good, durable, looks good, right? It still has to look great, comfortable, but yet durable. I was incredibly impressed with a presentation by a new company that was showing us all of these wonderful fabrics and material that looks great, looks comfortable, and the representative pour a glass of wine on it, and you can wipe it off completely even after 10, 15 minutes. So that's the kind of stuff that really excites me, right? Is that how do we do and achieve all of these new challenges posed by COVID? And I'm sure there are going to be other situations in the future, but yet through technology, through innovation, through new products, we can still retain that wonderful look and feel, and yet protect our guests the way that it needs to be.
Okay, fair enough. Reema, Rahul Pabalkar wants to know, as per current scenario, while designing, what should be the standard benchmark energy consumption for a luxury hotel?
Yeah, so whatever is possible based on the bones of the property and based on the technology and the adaptations which we can have. But I mean, it is just like it is always done at a fundamental level. Because I mean, when you have the right base to it, right? So right base in the sense like right at the design phase, and then you're just putting the foundation and putting the bones of the hotel. And as you just start running the property, that is another phase of it. And then like it's just like the regular repair and maintenance, and just having those sustainable practices as part of your regular maintenance and repair thing. Which is like having more efficient lighting scheme wherever possible, integration of LED, and sustainability of water, and focusing on all these parameters, and just ensuring that if you can achieve by like 11%, 18%, whatever best you can, by taking these measures in the hotel.
Okay, so Rahul, I hope you got your answers. Niyati, this is for you. This is from Parth Kapoor. He is from Hotel PR Residency from Amritsar, which is a mid-scale hotel. What he wants to know is about the kind of materials that can be used for making room furniture which have low maintenance for a mid-scale hotel. And he also wants to know, instead of paint, which are the other material options that are there, which can be used to cover room walls and corridor walls that are easy to maintain and deploy.
Can you ask me the first question first?
So the materials that can be used to make the room furniture, which are very low on maintenance for a mid-scale hotel, so which is cost viable.
Okay, thank you. So, considering, so there will be a luxury segment and there's been a mid level of hotel industry that you are dealing with. So the materials have to have a texture and a depth, and they have to be sustainable to repeat use. That is what we need to. If you have, so example, let's take break it up. So you want to have fabric, so you may not want to go in your rooms fabric cladding on the wall in part of paneling, right? You can go for an MDF textured, laser textured and painted kind of scenario on the wall. So that will also give you the texture, and if it has a paint which can be wiped off, you can maintain that as well. So even if you are using a normal paint, you can do layering, which is cost maintenance in your room space. Secondly, you may want to avoid something furniture which has lot of layering in it, as in it has lot of grooving and molding in it, as if not. And even Premnaji said the same thing. So you can avoid them because the dust and the grooves are of course time consuming and difficult to clean. So you can adopt these kinds of finishes. Now when you come to, instead of paint, you can go for wallpaper. You can go for wallpaper which are antimicrobial, or you can go for glass. Glass is an amazing medium where you can print back painted glass. You can have glass printing on top, and it is very easy to disinfect and clean glass. So that material is very good for your open spaces, and that will give you a level of hygiene that you want to achieve quickly. Other than that, what I could advise you about things to avoid is definitely fabric. As much as possible, fabric on the wall that you can avoid will be a great thing. I hope I've helped you. You can always reach out to me if you have further questions.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it.
HVAC seems to be really the pain point in many ways in terms of, especially during the COVID. How are you going to handle this segment? That's the question, Vinita, that you were asking. And that seems to be the question and the need of the hour when I think Prem also covered initially. So, Michael, what's your take, especially on the HVAC part for
Yeah,
the
I
hotel? For
I
the hotel.
I, I think it's really about making sure that we have adequate fresh air, right? We need to ensure that there is isolation for the rooms when it comes to uh, mechanical system. I think one of the issues that we were facing, which we weren't as focused before, is that you have a lot of uh, air bleeding between rooms, right? And of course, during COVID, we know that that is critically important and it could be very dangerous. There's just a case in Hong Kong now that is just because of that, right? So you identified a COVID hotel, quarantine hotel, but in fact, some of the conditioning system and ventilation system are not properly designed. So there's a lot of cross air, and your next door guests get what you're breathing at the same time. So I think all of those things becomes critically important for us now to ensure that additional inspection from the hotel point of view, decrease any kind of cross air contamination. It is very important. It becomes more important than ever before. Fresh air, making sure, as Prem said, having balcony where it was almost non-existent anymore, except for resorts. Now it's time to think about that, right? Even if it's just ability to open windows, get fresh air into the room, it all becomes something that we haven't thought about for a while, and now it becomes a forefront consideration for design for every discipline, right? Everybody has the same focus.
Vinita, can I just add something? Michael is summing up brilliantly, but what I feel, one thing to add, that most important now has become air quality, and people are asking it to be, displayed. Tell us about it. I think all the hygiene and the sanitization being done, nothing assures that person more than a meter saying, oh, your air quality has this or it doesn't have this. So I think technology there in the air conditioning system has got to be integrated to the next level, that the person is assured that the air that I'm breathing is now of this quality. This is what I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we even have piloted project where a guest can see on your TV uh, the amount of energy consumption in the room, the quality of the air in the room. So all of those measurements will become before not so much focus, but in the future, I think especially with the new millennials, right? And I heard the other day about Generation C, which I never heard before. And Generation C follows the millennials and Generation Z, and the C stands for COVID. So the Generation COVID will be focusing on these type of things more than ever before. So, all these measurements of quality of air, consumption, right? Sustainability goals are all critically important for the next generation of customers.
Michael, I'm going to, just point out one more thing over here. So while you spoke about the air quality, and Niyati mentioned how guests are asking if any way it can be displayed, what is the quality of air and the parameters there. Uh, how can hoteliers look at increasing the air circulation rate inside the room? There seems to be certain energy saving devices like the air handling unit that can be fitted with a plate heat exchanger. Can hoteliers look at deploying that in their properties?
Absolutely, absolutely, and of course, uh, unfortunately, realistically speaking, as you know, we have select service brands, we have full service, and we have luxury. Obviously, in the luxury space, these type of system is much easier to employ, right? Because owner have deeper pocket. So the challenge is really how to incorporate that as much as we can in the select service, right? Our courtyards and 4 points and so forth. That becomes a little bit more challenging because we really have to figure out how to prioritize what's really important for the owner so that their investment still makes sense.
So ultimately, it boils down to project economics, if I'm not mistaken, and all about how much funds can be allocated to the design elements. Is that correct?
Not so much that. I think it's more about prioritizing. Is to say, okay, what do we do? What is important? And before what was important, now we have to put it in a different level of requirement, right? So perhaps let's just pick on select service. Perhaps what we have to do is figure out looking towards automation for certain part of the service area, back of house, and put some of these requirements related to air quality and wellness and clean air in the forefront. So even though we're spending percentage-wise more there, we need to figure out what other area to make it less expensive, right? So I don't think it's about getting only the best in luxury, but I think it's about priority.
Okay, fine. Reema, what is your take on this about prioritization when it comes to certain elements, especially elements like air quality?
There is no choice about compromising quality of air, which is a very important parameter. At the same time, we are realizing that we've been spending a lot of money in the frills or some kind of fancy things over there, particularly in terms of articulations and intricacies and kind of expensive furnishing and artwork and things like that. We call soft furnishing and interior designing. One can cut down cost on that and invest some more money in the technology and the new kind of gadgets what we have with the new thing required to be done. I had to make the place healthy and happy. That's what we required to do it. We need to be fancy. Maybe less fancy doesn't matter, but hotel has to be good looking in any case. So I don't have to be very expensive in terms of frills, but at the same time I have to be very happy in terms of my quality. If come with a kind of selling point, marketing point, I might invest some more money in that. I think it's worthwhile.
Okay, thank you, Architect Prem. Reema, your opinion, please.
So, I mean, having a good air quality in the hotels, whether it's budget segment or it's luxury or ultra luxury, is really important. And that is something which should not be compromised. It should not be it should not be put in segments based on the segment of the hotels and its offering. That should be like one of the prime, I would say, considerations, special design consideration for all the brands. But as Michael highlighted, sometimes the challenges with the budget segment is how we can incorporate it without escalating the cost per key. And so maybe the having very smart integration and design solution to address this would be really important and critical. And because having the environment which is safe for our guests and safe for our associate is also very important. So just having the design solution in which we can address this would be really good. And then I would also encourage the companies to come up with some innovative solutions which are cost saving, which are more sustainable, which are more viable for even the budget segment of hotels, to follow and consider as part of the design.
Do you have any examples that you can quote over here when you're talking about companies that can come up with solutions?
Yeah, how we can have the safe environment and the good PM level, as part of our HVAC systems. So there are a lot of companies, like, I don't want to like just quote, yeah, those who are providing the solution, how we can just make it more viable to the budget segments would be something really good to look at.
Okay, fine. So I'm going to switch back to some questions that have come through from our participants again. Mr. Gaurav Kakkar has a question for you, Reema. He wants to know what initiatives can be taken to ensure that the guest experience remains unaffected and enhanced, excuse me, while keeping all the safety parameters in place. Now, we have covered quite a bit of that earlier also in the during the conversation. If you could just put some quick pointers on that, Reema, that would be great.
I mean, like keeping functionality, efficiency in mind, and like having the experience which is not compromised because of what the measures which we are taking as part of the hospitality experience, like having sanitized space and having social distancing. So all these elements, which is like right now the new norms of design, should be discreetly integrated, in the overall experience without being very pretentious. So that, because one of the thing is like guests, do not want to be reminded of COVID. When they want to experience the hotel, they want to be in the safe environment. By the same time, they want to be like, don't want to be reminded of that they are living in a COVID scenario. So if we can have like the integration of social distancing, having a right zoning plan in place, the design which is more functional yet efficient, paying attention to simple details and simple thing, and have more organic feel, blurring the boundaries of hospitality, wherein we can just integrate the outdoor with indoor wherever possible, whether it's dining, whether it's lobby, and create a safe environment, yet be very awesome in terms of our guest experiences.
Fabulous. Now I'm going to toss the baton to Michael, because this is a question that has come up pretty often. So Michael, where do you focus on managing costs in light of the intense focus on wellness and GFA? So how do you think that reducing GFA will allow hoteliers to improve on the overall build quality, especially in light of the intense focus on out-of-box experiences that new users demand?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's a double-edged sword. We cannot just focus on GFA because, at the end of the day, GFA could be cheap spaces, right? And I think it's really about making sure that we maximize efficiency. We focus on innovation. We focus on collaborating and partnering with all these creative people nowadays, young people that have great ideas how to create super efficient kitchen, tiny little kitchen that can churn out 3 or 4 different cuisine of food, for example, automation. I think it's more about that. I wouldn't completely focus on GFA because some GFA spaces are actually necessary, right, for you to give the guests the kind of experience that they expect. So again, to me, it's about prioritizing what is really important for the guest. As an example, your first impression for a hotel, that's really important. Is it a wasted GFA? Maybe, perhaps, but it's necessary for you to get that right impression first, right? But other areas that can be compressed and pulled together, then GFA maybe makes sense. So I guess, I'm going around this topic, but I think a lot of time people just think, well, reducing GFA, that's the answer. To me, it's not. It's about overall looking at what is really important, compress where we can, but keep other areas as elegant and as grand and as airy as possible.
So I'm going to switch gears over here, Michael, and ask you a question about MEP services. It's often been seen that MEP services are not given a lot of importance and are pushed into a corner without much scope for maintenance because of interior design. What's your take on it?
I tell you, I mean, if you look at sustainability goals, if you look at sustainability guidelines, don't hold me to it, but I would say about 75, 80% of really critical initiatives on sustainability, it's all around MEP. So is MEP important? Absolutely. It's super critical, I think, especially now, and especially relate as it relates to sustainability. So anybody who says MEP is pushed in the corner, I would disagree. I think, if anything, that's why Marriott has a dedicated specialist MEP team that focus nothing but on MEP requirements to give efficiency and least energy consumption, and yet provide the air quality and comfort for our guests. So I totally disagree. I think MEP is critically important for a success of any hotel.
So let's hope more people to give it the kind of attention that it deserves. And there is one question from Rahul Pabalkar. Actually, is very insistent that you answer it, Michael. So I'm going to ask you that. He said that MERV, and I hope I'm getting it right. It's MERV, MERV. I don't know how it's called. MERV 11 or MERV 13 filters are not meant to be used in existing HVAC systems, but to pressure drop across filters. So, do you have any other solution? Because the HVAC motor gets overheated and the system malfunctions.
Okay, I have to say that for me as an architect and working for hotel for Marriott for 24 years, uh, I am jack of all trade and expert of none. When it comes to MEP, I have to defer to my team. So please, if you can share that, I'm more than happy to get back to you after I talk to my MEP expert. But that's a great question. It sounds great, but I frankly don't know enough about it to give a proper answer. But fair enough.
Probably, Vinita and Michael, I think that's a more of a technical question. Probably we need a technical kind of a session separately. So, yeah.
Yes, but it's also nice, Vibhor, that we have that kind of interactivity and people have so many questions from our panelists. So there is another question that we have. Niyati, I'm going to ask you to take this because you earlier spoke about the kind of wall coverings and the furnishings that are there. Will a textile floor covering offer remarkable resilience, significant maintenance advantages, and will it be able to, mask the echo as a viable option in select areas? Hide the echo or find the echo. Will a textile floor covering offer a lot of resilience in certain areas like an auditorium or a banquet hall?
Yeah.
And also, is it a good maintenance option?
So that material is perfect for the use that it is meant. So in a lot of places where acoustic is needed, you will have fabric. If you want to not have any feet sounds, then you will add a carpet, a heavily carpet. So that's been the norm till now that anywhere you want to absorb sound, your fabric is a great absorber. But now things change because those fabrics couldn't be sanitized or cleaned previously easily. It was always very difficult to do that. Now, when we are implementing these products, we will have to look at how they can be removable. So the product itself may be used, but the detailing it to fix it will have to be such that they can be easily removed, sanitized, put back in its place. You know. So as a material, yes, of course, it has sound absorptive qualities. It can be used, but the way you use it and implement it in design will have to change.
Vinita, can I add more to this?
Of course.
Okay, so there are a lot of materials which are now available to address echo or acoustics to enhance the acoustic and decibel level. And they are not just limited to the wall finishes, but also the floor finishes. They are more durable. So there are a variety of options now today available, which is like nylon or boulon or wallpapers, which are like specifically catering to this kind of a requirement, in which you can really reduce the decibel levels and the echoes.
Okay. Thanks, Reema. In fact, so we are at literally at the fag end of our webinar, and I'm going to ask you one final question as we end, almost ending. So we throughout the seminar, a lot of people spoke about F&B options, about dining. Michael spoke about that. Architect Prem spoke about it. You also spoke about it. And F&B has always been one of the most critical elements in any hospitality business. And it has been also the one that has been affected the most by the pandemic. What are some major design elements that you think can be incorporated in the overall F&B experience so that the customer satisfaction is optimized and company profitability can be maintained?
That's a good question. So there are a lot of design parameters which can be considered to bring back the F&B business, which is having the design consideration on integrating outdoor spaces, bringing that outdoor experience inside and indoor experience outside. And when it comes to F&B spaces, sometimes it's very hard to maintain social distancing. So through various design options, like having planters or like the furniture elements, which are slightly, heavy, or can create little intimate space and social distancing, not just by like having too much of space, but like in terms of design, in terms of how you create a form to them. So that is something which we can look at. And also like, as long as possible, like if we can just encourage having more outdoor F&B spaces, or maybe the experience flowing from inside to outdoor, open up that space and blur the boundaries. And then like, having the component of like yin and yang symbol, like the way you position and do the entire zone planning and do the layout and the furniture planning, so that the experience is not hampered, and yet there is some sort of a social distancing and people are more comfortable dialing in the environment.
Thanks, Reema. And I must say that this has been a very insightful webinar. We do have a lot of questions that are coming up, and because we are running out of time, pretty much evident as well as architects. And it's amazing how, all of them are working on coming up with new ways to bring wellness into the hospitality spaces. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to request Vibhor to come and give the closing remarks for the webinar. Vibhor, can you please come on board?
With pleasure. I have to say that, I can't, my heart is full of warmth because, the two reasons. One, such a great discussion after such a long relief, to see fresh perspective. Second, and most important, our audience, we really love you. You've been there, and the testimony of the fact, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this show and watching us, there are 34 questions, which tells us that what a heroic industry, hotelier industry is all about. So everybody in the hotel, a big salute to you. You are the real heroes. And the bedrock of this hero are our great designer friends, You can't separate them. They are more and more critical. And if I may say, profit by design, the more and more I think designers will be required to bring hotels, which give you a class beyond expectation service, guest experience, and above all, great hygiene, health, sunlight, daylight, whatever you want to call it, because there are some amazing designers. I can't speak their language. But, Vinita, I just felt that, it's almost like more than a year. And when we did a webinar, would we get questions enough? But it's so heartwarming to see 34 questions and lots of people stayed glued in. So I want to say a very, very big thanks to everyone. It's Michael, Niyati, Reema, Architect Prem, Nath, for spending time with us and giving us such a fresh perspective. And I think my team behind, Vinita and all our team, right now they're taking quotes and they're going to flood the social media. But, audience, please, for God's sake, in case we have missed, I know there is a paucity of time, but please, continue your love, continue your confidence that you have bestowed on Hotelier India and all of us. This is just a thread. It is not the end of the discussion. And Michael and everybody, Reema, we consciously decided this topic. Vinitha was so bullish about this topic because I think in the COVID times and the world that has changed, 1 year now and how things will evolve, design seamlessly, as Mr. Prem Nath said, will not only for hospitality, every segment, commercial real estate, hospital, everywhere, Niyati, this will become the fundamentals. So people, once again, a big thanks from ITP Media Group, Hotelier India, and all my team here. I wish you all stay blessed, stay safe, and you will hear more from us. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Such a pleasure being here. Be safe.